am your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, and Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. With me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. I have no non sequitur quote to throw at you. So
a non-entry. All right, that's nice. I get a no prize. Oh, that's so awesome. All right, no, I can appreciate that. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing this week?
Doing good.
Yeah.
I've watched a few movies where the blood flowed freely. It was incredibly gory pair of films we have for us tonight, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, this pleases me. I think it's been a while since we've had something really gory and a night and like actual horror movies. Like slasher flicks.
Yeah, slasherific, right? Yeah.
Oh,
right.
but I'm bummed.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of gore and slashers, having Dave Dreher from the Horror News Radio podcast is a blessing in disguise, right, Dave? This had to be like a banner week for you.
Why do I have to be in disguise? What the hell's up with that? Can I just be here?
Somebody's got to wear the mask. All right. But Dave, we've been throwing a lot of films and some of them with subtitles. Actually,
yes, no subtitles. Everyone spoke English this time.
Dave.
There was no dome lights that I remember seeing.
Yeah, there was no dome lights. There weren't even many cars.
We were dome light free.
All right, yeah. So we have a pair of films for you, everyone, to check out tonight. Both of them are very much in the slasher genre. Very gory, very bloody, a lot of killing, and a lot of fun. The first one is The Furies, which is from Down Under, right? From Tony D'Aquino. The cast includes Arlie Dodds, Linda Nago, and Taylor Ferguson. It's currently on Shudder. The second film we have is Trick from director Patrick Lussier. The cast includes Omar Epps, Jamie Kennedy, and the one and only Tom Atkins, which makes it wonderful in and of itself just for that alone. It's coming out in theaters October 18th and also at the same time on digital and on demand. So, these they're not the same film, but the similarity, just because of the subgenre they're in, was pretty spectacular. And it was sometimes the stars align. And this was a great double feature. So I can't wait to hear what you guys thought of these films. Let's start off with The Furies. And Dave Dreher, I can't wait to hear you gush about these films. So tell us, what was your first impression of The Furies?
Boy, you're going to be disappointed if I say this thing sucked.
I am, but you've already texted me, so I know they're
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yes, The Furies. I knew nothing of this movie. I went in completely blind what this was about. And boy, I'm really glad I did, because that's the way to do this particular film. It is crazy. I think I texted Doc, holy shit. was what I'd sent him.
I think you told everybody on Facebook that.
You're right. And you are 100% right, Jeff. That's exactly what I did. It's actually a pretty simple premise. We've got some young women who find themselves abducted, and they wake up in a coffin in the middle of the woods and are kind of left to their own devices. I really don't want to give too much of this one away, because it's so much fun watching these people figure out just exactly what the hell it is they've gotten themselves into. And I just thought great performances all the way around. The practical effects were stellar. There's a couple really bad CGI moments, which I don't understand why that had to be, because whoever was doing their practical effects were just killing it. Maybe it was just outside of their skill set. I'm not sure, but that really is the only bad thing I can say about this movie. And it's really just two particular effects, which, as I'm sure as we progressively talk about this more, we'll get into. But yeah, this is a absolutely must watch during the Halloween season and any time of the year, quite frankly. when you must see blood, this is the one you turn on because it is ample.
I like that. I like that quite a bit. All right, Jeff Morser, what is your first impression of The Furies?
It was, oh my God. OMG, OMFG, boy howdy.
Wait, what? Who's talking right now? Who's this man?
That was the craziest practical effects. I loved them. The interesting thing is, so I'm not going to be too specific, but the first thing I saw that was somebody had a wounded leg and a wound in their leg, and I thought, wow, that's really realistic. Not too much after that, we get another effect that just blows that all to hell. Just stuff happens in this that I just wasn't expecting to go all that way, and it was really interesting. It kind of reminded me of, a little bit of films like The Race or Raise, if you saw that with Zoe Bell. These people are put into this situation and they don't know how they got there, and there's kind of a set of rules, but they don't know what they are. And like Dave said, it's really cool how they go through it and figure out kind of what's going on and how certain actions affect the outcome. And in the meantime, I think, I thought the acting was really good. Although half the characters have masks on, so we don't get much acting other than sort of grunts and
a lot of body language.
Yeah, lots of body language and weapons, lots of
and one hilarious wave.
Yeah. So I watched it.
Oh God,
Yes,
that's actually one of my favorite parts. I was like,
well, the neat thing about that is when I watched it the second time, there's some foretelling there that I didn't know what the hell was going on. So that plays in well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love the story, love the effects, love the acting.
Yeah. If you watch the trailer, you'll know that there's more than one killer, and that becomes incredibly interesting as the movie goes on. But yeah, I don't think we've ever expected an axe to go into flesh so slowly. Have we ever?
Yeah, that was crazy. The face peeling, if you will.
So the one the thing that kind of threw me, and I'm bringing this up so somebody can correct me here, is the film opens with Kayla and her friend Maddie, and Maddie is obviously the more adventurous, more risk-taking, and Kayla is the one who always follows the rules and is a little, risk-adverse.
For a reason.
Yes. And then as they get separated in the setting of the film, and Kayla really comes into her own, becomes much more aggressive, much more self-sufficient. And when she finally pairs up with Maddie again, she kind of immediately falls back into that dependent on Maddie. And that rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't.
But that's natural. See, I think you're completely wrong. I think that's so natural. I think a lot of times when we have built a relationship, especially one as strong as theirs, you kind of just becomes natural in the way that you interact with each other. And I think it's way more simple to fall back into who she was than to expect her to change and be completely changed from that point on forever.
Okay. So to immediately slide back into the comfortable roles that you've known each other. Yeah.
Right. I think she's used to her friend being, she appeared like the dominant, stronger one, really, ultimately. Right. So I think she, don't you think? That seems natural to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a woman and that.
Well, that's why I brought it up for a different viewpoint.
Yeah. I think that would be natural. I don't think it's completely out of character. I could have seen her staying strong, but I think that's less likely. I think she doesn't want to be in a position of strength. So if someone stronger comes into the arena, I think giving up power would be refreshing to her, in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people only like I hate being a leader, but I get put in a leadership role because I can do it, and I'll do it if there's no one else around. But when someone else comes around, I'm like, woohoo, here you go. Take it.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that's kind of how her mentality was working there.
It feels that way. And the other character had probably a very similar reaction that Jeff did. So that was interesting. All right. Well, Crystal, since you have the floor, give us your first impression of the Furies.
Oh, obviously I liked it too. I mean, of course, it's shockingly gory. And really, honestly, I was a little surprised. So we start the movie and you've got these two girls and it's like 5 minutes in and it's already in it. I was like, whoa, wow, we're already in it, which made me very, very, very happy that we didn't like waste all this time. We didn't really need to know anymore about the girls. Mm-hmm. But it would have been interesting to me because one of the things that they bring up is why these girls. I mean, one of the girls was taken from her home. So clearly she was targeted for a reason. They had eyes on her for some reason. She was clearly crazy. But, that's another story. But the concept is obviously very cool. The story has some plot holes. Some plot holes, but I didn't really care. I just enjoyed it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go along with this. And I think the way that they developed the girls and the interaction with the girls was really believable. Now, see, for me, the wave, I got it immediately. I understood what was going on. Like, to me, that was like so obvious because he was obviously like, hey, I'm your dude, man. Like, love me. I love you. I don't know. Maybe it just spoke to me, but I was like, oh God, these girls are about to be in a war. I mean, oh God, it's really, I think it could be a lot more cutthroat if they found out the rules or if they knew the rules before going in. I think the way that they kept up with the contestants was interesting. I didn't really understand how she had an edge with her epilepsy or her seizures. I mean, but I'll buy it. Whatever. I mean, it worked for the plot, so I'll go with that. The ending was interesting, and I have a lot of questions, I guess, with that. But really, basically, what I'm saying is, don't focus too much on the story. Just kind of enjoy it and let it ride, and enjoy the gore. And if you like gore, I think you'll really like this movie. The acting is great. There's a lot of good deaths. There is some, nasty looking leather face-ish type characters in there, which are kind of cool, and they each look a little different. I think one of them actually was a pig too. Yeah, I really liked this movie. I mean, simple concept. I think that it was executed well. Not a huge cast, but yeah, it was done well. I mean, yeah, I liked it. That's all. I liked it. I mean, they said so much. I agree with what all they said too. Yeah.
Yeah, Arlie Dodds as Kayla, our lead, is she holds the film together. She is really good.
Doesn't she have the most beautiful eyes too? Sorry, I know that's so silly, but they focus on them so much, and I'm like, God, her eyes are beautiful.
Yeah, because when she goes into her seizure, she basically, instead of convulsing, she's catatonic seizures. So and she can't move, and yeah, so we focus on her eyes because of for that reason, and also the mechanism of the film, right? The machinations of how she can kind of see what's going on and get clues that others can't. So yeah, her eyes are important. Yeah, that's a good observation. Yeah, she is captivating in that respect. Yeah, definitely, and that helps. It's needed for this particular role. The villain characters, which they're minor spoilers for each girl, there is a paired up villain. So I think we have six girls, right? Or is it 8 girls?
Oh God.
Do we know?
You're gonna make me count?
I thought it was 6, right?
It is 6. Yeah.
All right.
6.
So we have 6 villains as well, or killers or slashers or whatever. And they all, the variety of different faces, right? You got the pig mask, you got the the one with the rubbery, leathery mask and
the credits are great. Rot face, pig face.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Skin crow, baby face, owly.
Oh yeah,
Owly.
owly, yeah, and the baby face, yeah. And there's some, the effects are insanely gory and wonderfully so. And there are some surprises, kills that come out of nowhere. There's plenty of chasing around, and it's always on the move. It's always on the go. They reveal things. Every scene is made to introduce a new character or reveal a new aspect of the story. So every time you're going from one location to the next, the story's progressing. You're learning more. So it doesn't have. You're never bored with it. You're never feeling like it's sluggish or slowing down, because it's always building on itself in a really, really interesting way. And the characters are flawed in fun ways, even our heroine, right?
Yes.
Are you going to guess what's happening? Probably. Probably. Are you going to have a good time? I think you will. Is it gory? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of this, and I had been looking forward to seeing this when I saw the first trailer for one of the I think it was, I'm trying to remember which one, but one of the late spring film festivals had it, and we covered it then as one of the films to look forward to at that particular festival. So forgive me for not remembering exactly which one, but so when I found out it was going to be on Shudder, I was delighted that we were finally getting to catch it, and I will end this saying it delivered.
It did.
I agree.
Yeah. So, Dave, I've got to I got to go back to you, because you are the gorehound here. Would Tom Savini, who you know fairly well, would Tom Savini admire the efforts in this film?
I think he would. There was actually some kind of original stuff here. Jeff mentioned the slow face peeling scene, which was just excruciating to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. I mean, that was a long scene, and it was very, we were like right up in it. So stuff like that, I mean, that was kind of Tom's bread and butter back in the day.
There is a Friday 13th feel to this, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, these guys or gals, I'm not sure who did the effects, kind of really up the game here a little bit. This was some real throwback stuff, but with a real kind of modern twist on it that was appreciated by me, quite frankly. It was definitely, no flinching. That's for sure. I mean, they just went right for the gut. I really enjoyed it, but the catalyst of the story was really good for me. I mean, you had said, do we know where it's going to go? Do we know what's going to happen? But really, in a way, I mean, the way it's presented, it could go several ways, and I really wasn't sure where they were heading with it. And we really didn't know until, we kind of, or at least for me, I kind of reached the same conclusion at the same time as the characters, like where she, the eyeball popping scene.
Yeah.
When she goes back and, she realizes her eye was bleeding, and she kind of, I put it together at the same time. I'm like, oh my God, they've stuck something behind her eye. That's how they know where they're at, and I kind of, as she reached it, and then she, obviously confirms the suspicion. And, I don't know, maybe you guys reached that conclusion far in advance, but for me, it was simultaneous with the storyline of what was going on. And they did that a couple of different times.
Yeah, they kind of throw in, I think Crystal mentioned it, but they play a little loose with some science fiction, I guess, in that this implant in the eye is somehow interfacing electronically with her brain because of her epilepsy.
Yeah, well, it's hooked into the brain, but her epilepsy causes it not to work properly. And when
right, and she's seeing through.
Yeah, when she goes
she's seeing some other signal
the other way, right? Yeah, she's kind of catching kind of the same thing, like when you're driving your car and you catch a radio station for just a second. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't be catching, And but again, for me, that worked perfectly. I mean, it really did, and it really helped to force the story forward. Because otherwise, it might have been kind of hard for them to figure out exactly what the hell was going on. So that worked for me. That was a contrived piece of plot that, for me, was pretty brilliant.
Oh, I agree. And the actresses sold it as well. When you say so, Crystal, I mean, the girl's reaction to that particular scene when she's plucking the eyeball out was delightful, was it not?
Well, what's interesting about it is that particular character, the one that's actually with her when she does that, reacts in such a way where she's like just horrified, and then what that character does later, I'm like, you're crazy. Yeah. You are absolutely crazy.
She was a good actress too, Linda.
Yeah,
however you pronounce that, Engo.
But I wasn't bothered by it. It just said a lot about her character because, well, clearly she had some sort of issues. With she kind of acted a little bit more childish and was more childish in her thought. But I think this could be, I think I would like to even see it expanded further. I'd love to know a little bit more about how they choose the girls. And actually, I was a little confused as to, I'm assuming they only did like one eye. Right? Is that what we're talking here?
Right,
I'm confused.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just throwing this out here since we kind of have things going.
It was just a one, and it definitely came across for me that it's kind of a hostile type of thing. This is some type of it's like a hunter's club, like a hunt club type of thing. That
I love the VR. I think the idea of that VR is so cool because I'm like, oh, okay. It even explains further as to why they're doing it
and why they can see through the eyeballs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like pretty cool right there.
So it's more than just them keeping an eye on them. They're actually recording this so people can buy it later.
Yeah, VR, and actually relive it.
Yeah, which is interesting. It has a lot going for it in that respect. And they don't play heavy-handed into it. Now, what I like, Jeff, is the tie between the bond, if you will, between our ladies and our villains. Spoilers here, right? Spoilers here. But Jeff, what you said the wave didn't fill you in right away, and Crystal, you said it did. But Jeff, when you figured that out, was probably with the head explosion as well. What did you think of that idea? Was it like remarkable, or was it like, oh, come on?
Oh no, I thought it was genius. They were, and I'm with Crystal too, as I do have questions how they chose who they had, and what the situation. We know what the girls in. Basically, we're spoiling, right? So these people just show up in this weird ass forest, which I assume is something in Australia. I should look up and see where that is. But oh man, was that an eerie looking place, otherworldly, I should say. And they just wake up inside a black box labeled Beast or Beauty. And the beast apparently can't talk. All they do is make guttural noises, and they have these weird masks on. And
well, my assumption, I'm assuming they're just like kind of practically feral. But let me tell you, okay, so I figured that out right away, and all I thought was, why are you being so stupid, killing your man? What is wrong with you? Like, I never would have killed my dude. Like, I'd be like, dude, we buds. Let's rock this. We're going to fucking kill all these motherfuckers up in here. For real.
But we find out why, right?
Well, no. Why? Why did she
Well,
kill
because
him?
if she kills him, then someone else wouldn't have the motivation to kill her to get rid of her man.
Huh? That's not, but I think that's irrelevant. I think it's the last girl standing.
Well, but that was part of their strategy, was if it's easier to kill you, it's easier to kill Kayla than it is to kill Rotface. So,
right, because if you kill Kayla, Rotface heads explodes.
So if she kills him, then she doesn't have to worry about somebody trying to kill her in order to get rid of him.
But
I still think they'd want to kill her. I don't see her.
Well, in the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, the girls would, but the monsters wouldn't, right? The beasts, because the beasts have to protect their own. right?
Right. Well, but Kayla makes that.
Yeah,
Kayla kills her protector to try to save it, and then the other one turns on her and and does just the opposite. I mean, she's trying to do the right thing by her fellow kidnapper, her fellow victim, and in the end, she ends up getting played. And has to do what she does at the end to escape. But the other girl ends up hanging around for round.
Yeah, but it also
that was funny.
but it also has to play into her arc, right? Because she's going from following the rules to breaking the rules, but she has a reason to break the rules, right?
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I noticed the more she got into it, the less she had her problem.
Oh,
that's true too.
Yeah.
Until the very end.
She went a long time without a seizure.
And then she suddenly did. Because the anxiety wasn't there to trigger it until her friend showed up. And then once her friend showed up, the anxiety came back. So more to Jeff's.
Yeah, that kind of makes even more sense as to why she is the way that she is. I think we kind of get in our relationships with people and we get stuck in that.
Yeah.
That sort of dynamic, as it were.
Oh, the girl took care of that.
That was so. That was
so wrong in the right way. Oh.
That was decisive action too.
Yeah, and it honestly, it was well played. It was a smart choice. Honestly, I don't know if I could have made the same choice. If I consider someone an ally, I'm very loyal. Unfortunately, so. But she made the right play, the right call until she should have just lied and said the dude did it, and then she ran off and came back for her. She was passed out, so he just left her alone. I don't know. I would have freaking made up some shit. Something.
But that wasn't how that character worked, though. That character was like, I saved you. She didn't see it that way. So, sorry, spoilers for the end of the movie. But, I think we're going to recommend this. So let's wrap this one up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene for the Furies, because if we don't do it now, we're going to give away the entire film if we haven't already. So, Dave, start us off.
Really original, fun story idea. Really kind of keeps you guessing. They can really kind of go anywhere with it. You're not really sure where they're going to lead with this thing, and they make smart choices when they do. At no point did I feel really disappointed at any pivotal turn in this film. I really enjoyed this a lot. Like I said, there was just a couple bad CGI moments, both of them being head explosions.
I didn't mind them.
The practical effects were so good. It just seemed so unnecessary. I almost wish that maybe they just would have left it off screen and not even shown it. They could have just hinted at it with the blood splattered on the person standing there or something. The practical effects in this are some of the best I've seen in years. And those are really the only two blemishes I can find in this movie. They really are. So because of that, I'm going to give this a 4.75.
Whoa!
What?
Nice.
Wait, what?
Liked it a lot. And I really appreciated the smart storytelling.
This smells like a top 10, Dave.
Yeah. I think, but who knows? I mean, 2 weeks ago when we talked, this thing wasn't even on my radar. So God only knows what'll happen. We got 6 weeks, 8 weeks yet? 10 weeks, don't we? 10 weeks left in the year? Yeah, we got 10 weeks left. Shit, anything can happen. Lord. Favorite scene? There are so many that it could be. Seriously. I mean, there's too many to choose from. So I am just gonna pick the face peeling scene when our victim gets the axe slowly, so slowly pushed into the side of her face until eventually she's faced no more. That was really good. But I mean, that's just one in really a dozen exceptional scenes in this. But I'll go with that one.
Well, the aftermath too was. I mean,
it's a good choice.
What her head looked like.
Yeah.
Yes. The lack of a grin. Yes. Gruesome. All right, Jeff, what about you, sir? What are your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene for the Furies?
I'm just going to throw it out here right away. I'm going 4.5.
Nice.
What?
I'm trying to be unpredictable. I thought it was great. I watched it twice, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again shortly because I did not get it that fast. The wave. I just thought, well, we don't know what these guys are. We don't quite get what their motivation is. Is it to kill everything? We already know. We saw one guy, in sort of the precursor, pick the woman up and carry her away. He comes and kills one of them and carries her away.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's why it made so much sense to me. I think maybe it's just a girl. I totally get that. It reminded me of like Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah,
it was like he's protecting her,
Well, in hindsight, it's obvious to me, but when I saw it, I just thought, he's taking her off to his cave to rape and pillage.
Oh, jeez.
as opposed to kill. Well, that's a guy's point of view.
I love it.
But yeah, no, I didn't get it quite that fast. But when I go back and watch it a second time, everything really fit really well, and you could pick it up if you were had strong emotional intelligence like Crystal does. I love the practical effects, and I actually kind of like the head exploding. I know it was CGI, but I thought compared to a lot of CGI we see, I thought it was fairly decent in terms of the blood flying out. Okay, favorite scene. I'd like to pick a strong character development scene, but I'm going with the head split.
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
Both of those scenes, the face slice and the head split, I had to watch them, pause, look at them frame by frame, going, wow. I'll bet that's what that would really look like. It was impressive. So that's it. I'm sorry if I stole somebody's scene, but
it's like you're 13 again. That's awesome. Wow. All right, Crystal, what is your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene for the Furies?
Well, I really liked it. I guess clearly not as much as them. I mean, I'm giving it a 4, but 4.75. Wow, that's special. But I really liked it. I think everyone's going to really like it. I think it's a good watch. It's fun. It's gory. And it's good. And it's got a lot of good scenes. There's a lot of axe scenes. But yes. I'm going to say, oh God, there's a lot of favorite scenes. I have a lot. But no, this one really jacked with me. Oh God, it's so gross. The Stumpy to the mouth.
Yeah, that was good too. That was really good.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh, bleh, bleh.
Which is pretty much what she did.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, well that's good. I enjoyed this film. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was everything I wanted it to be. Is the plot kind of shallow, maybe, or the characters only developed to a certain point, maybe, but it all works. It's inventive. It's fast paced. It's the pacing is also well done, and meaning that the story progresses with each scene, which is in a film like this very welcomed, because otherwise, the killings can get very repetitive if you aren't careful. You look at some of some of the lesser 80s slasher films, and you kind of get what I'm talking about. But in here, it's always spinning, always turning. We're always learning something new, and I love it. It's I'm going to give it. I think I'm going to get 4.25. I'm going to get a 4.25. I'm considering going higher, but I like this movie a lot. I really do. I like that the females are strong. Even the ones that aren't, are stronger than usual. And even though the beasts, if you will, aren't necessarily inventive in and of themselves, in the context of the story, they are, right? It makes sense. It works. And they're unique enough, that you get the gist of where they're coming from, but they're not as direct copies of, maybe some lesser quality films have done. So I loved it. Yeah, 4.25. Favorite scene is they're on the beach. No, they're not on the beach. They're at the edge of the forest, right? And it's going into the sand. It's not a beach. It's I guess it's close to where the desert is, because it looked like it was sand from there on. Am I wrong, or was I imagining that?
No,
it's definitely a barren area.
Yeah, barren. Let's go with that, barren. And we learned that they're being blocked by a circle of sound devices that fire off and make it impossible to walk past. It just cripple you. At this point, our heroine is introduced to a girl getting chased by one of the bad guys, and from this scene, from the beginning of the scene to when she runs back in the forest, is one of my favorite scenes. I loved how this played out. She's kind of like hiding behind something, this wagony kind of thing.
It's a cart thing.
Yeah, like a cart. And she's trying to save the girl. And first thing that impressed me was the guy with the axe throws the axe, nails her in the back. It's not the first time I've seen a scene like that. It's not the first time I've seen the scene in this movie. The first time it hits a tree instead, but here it hits her right in the back. Oh, it's just really good. And then he does the wave. We've talked about this wave. And so he's sitting there and he comes up to her and he looks up and he sees the girl, and he's a big menacing guy, broad shoulders, and he just slaughtered this girl right in front of him. He chopped another girl's face off. And then he just does this hi, right? This wave, like a little dainty hi, how you doing? Wave, and it was just like, all right, this is different.
And her reaction too, she's like,
yeah.
She kind of waves back.
Yeah. And then another one shows up, right? And then he fights. He does this quick double take, and he realizes what he has to do. And it's at that point when I like, okay, I get what's going on here. That clued me in. But I just, that whole scene just was tonally kind of defined this film in a lot of different ways and a lot of different aspects. So I want to go with that. It's not the goriest scene.
That's a good one, because that's a really brilliant scene. I mean, it all kind of comes together and makes sense in that little 3-minute scene.
Right.
And very good. Good storytelling.
Yeah, that helps. Like I said, that's what makes this one stand out. All right. That's The Furies. It's from director Tony D'Aquino. It'd be interesting to see what else he's done or is going to do. The cast includes Arlie Dodds, Linda Ngo. Is that how you say Ngo? Taylor Ferguson. I apologize so bad. It's currently on Shudder, so I recommend you watch it.
Names with no vowels or very few vowels are hard to work.
I never know which one's silent. Or do you do them all? I don't know. I'm dumb. All right. Anyway, move on to our next one. Another slasher, Trick, from director Patrick Lussier. Now, Dave, you like this director, right?
I do like this director quite a bit, yes.
And the cast includes Omar Epps, Jamie Kennedy, and Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins. And okay, well, we'll get to him. He's so much fun. So much fun. October 18th, this movie is coming out in theaters, a digital and on demand. The synopsis goes as follows. A no-nonsense detective tries to track down a serial killer named Trick, who is terrorizing a small town. And that's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate.
That pretty much sums it up, man.
There's not really much else that goes on with this film. So let's find out what the Grue-Crew think of Trick. We'll start out with Crystal Cleveland. What was your first impression?
Okay, wait. There's not much that goes on with this film. So you're trying to say this film has less of a story than the other film? No, not fair.
No,
not fair.
Not fair?
No, not fair.
All right.
Okay, so I may be in the minority here, and I don't care, but I liked it. Like, it's violent. It's a violent movie, and that pleases me. And I think the way that they just kind of went through the years with this killer and the relationship with the officer is interesting. And of course, when you first see the killer, like I'm like, God, he's a badass. Like, the way he like jumps at one of his victims from behind, and he flips the knife with his feet and stuff, like he's he's pretty beast, you know. And as it goes on, you know, you're curious as to like, well, clearly this must have a supernatural aspect to it, because there's no way that someone could survive this or that or whatever else is going on. And of course, you have to watch and find out, you know, to see. I think that what was cool about the killer is also that he didn't have one specific look. He changed his look throughout the years, which is kind of cool. He was like a pumpkin and a demon and a skull. I liked that. I liked how he infiltrated his surroundings and then, you know, kind of did his thing. I thought it was gory in a lot of spots, and they used a lot of dissolve shots, and I really like that. You don't see it very often anymore. I know that's such a silly thing to say, but yeah, I mean, I thought the acting was good. I thought there were some inventive kills. There was, you know, one of the only things that I wish they hadn't done is they showed some images on a TV screen, and I felt like very disappointing. I feel like that part bothered me because it seemed a little silly at a point. But, you know, I mean, there's flaws with every movie. I mean, yeah, I liked kills. I liked the way that the characters played through. You know, the town seemed kind of cool. The cinematography was good. You know, yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's a slasher, so, you know, saying much more would maybe give too much away, but yeah, I liked it.
You liked it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's find out what Jeff Mohr thought. What was your first impression of Trick?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. You know, it's interesting because there was a point where I was feeling like, I don't know how to describe this. I was feeling like it was a little long, but yet it was a thought, and then I dove right back into it. It didn't resurface. Let's put it that way. So, but I enjoyed it. I liked the whole concept. Yeah, there was some pretty neat choreographed, a lot of fight choreography that was pretty cool. The guy had some definite skills. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen more of Cheryl. I thought she was really good. Christina Reyes. I liked her a lot, and I kind of wanted to see more of her because she kind of disappears during the middle of the movie. She's in the beginning and the end. Other than that, I don't know. I'm just kind of mumbling around. I liked it.
Yeah, I think that's a simple film. Like, it's hard to say too much without, It's like,
well, and I like Patrick Lussier too. In fact, I went back when I saw who was doing this. I went back and watched Drive Angry, which he also directed, just to refresh memory, and that was fun. And he has edited a lot of landmark horror films, really. The Halloween H20 and Cursed and Scream, some Wes Craven stuff. So I've always kind of liked Omar Epps, and I didn't recognize Jamie Kennedy immediately.
Yeah, that was odd.
I recognized him fairly quick, but I didn't. They did a pretty good job describing him.
He was so subdued.
Yeah, Tom Atkins was awesome. I love Tom Atkins.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Dave Dreher. Oh man, Dave, this is another slasher film. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you think. Can't hear it. What is your first impression of Trick?
Well, I'm going to join the chorus of our two esteemed colleagues here. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Jeff, I think, hit the nail on the head, though. It's just a little bit too long. I experienced the same thing, Jeff. I kind of checked out for a little bit. But it did. It pulls you back in. When we joined Tom Atkins at watching Night of the Living Dead in that church, it all kind of comes back. Yes. It all kind of comes back around again. But there's a 10, 15-minute period there where it's just kind of like, oh boy, this is going south. And luckily they do bring it back because it deserves to have an audience. But for all of Patrick Lussier's work that he did with Wes Craven, maybe he should have paid a little more attention to tightening the story up a little bit.
Tighten that story.
Because it kind of drones on a little bit. Omar Epps was good. Liked him. Tom Atkins was spectacular. Trick, I thought, was a formidable slasher. Yeah, I kind of like where they went. I know we haven't gotten into spoiler territory yet, but, I kind of like the twist, if you will, was good. I really didn't see that coming. I liked how they, once we got the twist, how they revealed the identities, if you will, how we met all these people throughout the course of the movie and hadn't realized that we were meeting integral story pieces. So that was all. It was all good. It was just a little bit too long, and the effects again. This one's going to suffer from having to follow something as strong as the Furies, but effects wise, this one is nowhere, almost not even in the same league with the practical effects that we got in the first one.
I'd agree.
Yeah, we don't really get those extreme effects.
Yeah, the Fury, but that's kind of a rough one for the Fury. I mean, that's kind of like if somebody would had to review something after watching The Thing for the first time, there's no way you're going to get a fair review, because The Thing was groundbreaking, and the Furies kind of had that same feel. So, you got to kind of take that into account. But this one is by no means even in the same ballpark.
I watched this one first, and I think that's why I was like, oh, this is really good with the effects. Because I mean, a lot of movies nowadays, I haven't been getting enough gore, personally, for my taste. So I was like, oh, good. Okay, we got some. But yes, it doesn't compare with The Fury. The Furies just gives it to you, basically. Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking was the cinematography, which is Amanda Trey's, and film editing, Tommy Agard, that they do a good job of helping sell the violence without requiring a whole lot of detailed practical effects. There's lots of spinning and stabbing and that kind of stuff, so there's not that in your face kind of stuff that we saw in the Furies, but it's effective and well paired with some good sound effects.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, I watched this prior to watching the Furies as well. I don't have as favorable an impression of this film. It started out strong. The introduction trick and what's happening there is a really it's really interesting, and it plays out. There's almost a beginning and middle end right there in the first 10 minutes, right? This little pre-coda thing that kind of introduces the character and sets up this year after year after year event. But then the movie quickly lost me. I did not like Omar Epps.
What?
I did not enjoy this character, this Mike Denver, this Detective Denver. I did it first, because, after that murder scene, he's in the hospital and they wake up and do this little, hard to kill killer scenario, jumps, gets shot out the window and jumps into the river and you can't find him, and sets up the whole legacy thing. And then the film lost me. I just did not like this year after year thing. Even though I found it fascinating at first, I was like, okay, let's get on with this. This is, and I missed the characters, right? Because we weren't getting the Cheryl, right? The Christina Rey's character. It really, and her friend, right? Which is the problem, because we needed those characters more. And even the one, the friend of theirs that, we lose track of them and they lose track of each other. Of course, it's 4 years. They go from being seniors in high school to being, in and out of college or skipping college altogether, whole lives almost, for those young people. And we don't get all that, which we couldn't, because that would be a hell of a long movie. It almost makes it feel like it should have been like seasons of a TV show. But rambling on as I am, much like the movie, I was checking out and not interested, and I was not having fun until the finale. And it wheeled me back. It reeled. That's also there's a pun and a mistake in there, and reeled me back in. And I liked what they were doing. I kind of wish they had done that sooner. The twist, if you will. Although the last twist was, miles away. I could see that coming. Not that I didn't love it, but I was like, okay, don't drag this out. Just do it. Come on. Come on. We know what it is. Come on. I don't think this film was hiding any secrets really well. Although I will step back a little bit and say when they revealed the initial part of it, I was like, oh, I see where we're going, and I like that. Although you mentioned the Night of the Living Dead scene, and that's when I started being suspicious of it, and it turned out that had something to do with it. It may not have been exactly what I was thinking, but it certainly turned out. I think that was Smooth Johnny or something sitting in there.
Oh yeah.
But man, Tom Atkins is so fun in this. He's especially when he grabs his shotgun, he catches the guy sneaking in. Just pure Tom Atkins. So I'm not too keen on this film.
I was going to say you were right. Melody Hurd is Janice. That was the little girl.
Yeah, but she was funny too.
But I have no idea who the female character was. There's another one named Nikki, but I don't believe that's her either. I think that was the other little girl. But
and that's frustrating, right? Because those characters should have been, well, and maybe that's just me, tuning into a different expectation of the film. Those would have been more interesting. I don't think the Detective Denver character, as the main character we follow, was interesting enough. It did pay off when they're in the room together. When all three of them had to kind of work together. I really like that, but man, I found it frustrating not focusing on the girl.
Well, that's one way to look at it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I acknowledge. Okay, I'm not saying this is like a master. I just really liked it, and I didn't have like too much negative to say about it. I think some of the kills were fun. I think it was a simple slasher concept, and honestly, I'd really like to see more of Jamie Kennedy. Like, I don't know, at the end, he seemed kind of fun. I think that could be played upon. I think obviously they could keep going. They kind of set it up for another one, maybe, but I don't know. I liked it. I really enjoy supernatural movies, and that's typically my preference. Are we talking spoilers at all here?
We'll get into it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So from here on in, we might throw out some spoilers. So if you are planning on catching us on the 18th, skip ahead to our final thoughts about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Sure, that's more than enough time. But okay, so I was actually a little disappointed that it was a cluster of people, but I liked it. I'm also like, oh, okay, of course.
That, if I may interject real quick, that's what saved it for me.
That's so interesting. Okay, see, now I know how your mind works. No, but I knew
what?
That it was more. I knew that it was more than one killer when they were at the carnival and you saw the girl looking up at, when she came up and she was looking up at them climbing up the, I don't know, what is it, the little stairs or the rafter. I was like, that is not the same person. That's not the same face. So clearly we have multiple people here. That's when I knew. I mean, because they painted their faces as opposed to wearing the mask at that point. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. This is not supernatural. Oh, that's too bad. But it explained a lot and it helped, I was kind of hoping for more like a First Power kind of thing. Remember that movie?
Oh my God. Where'd that come out of? Oh, wow.
Oh God, Lou Diamond Phillips.
How long have you been holding on to that one? Jeez.
Well, because, he's the cop, Jason.
You're just showing off now.
I was a little bit hoping about that, but it turned into something more real. I'm just saying for a slasher movie, it was pretty good. It was a good watch. I mean, not the best, but good. I think it's a solid movie for me.
It was a little bit too much procedural, right? It fell into procedural hell. What do you think, Dave? Did it fall into procedural hell there for the minute?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, like I said, Jeff touched on it first. It's just a little bit too long. We did not need a lot of that in there. It was at its best when it was with Trick, or the Trick character, him and his mayhem were the best parts of it. Pretty much everything having to do with Omar Epps and him trying to figure it out and, doing his CSI Criminal Minds impersonation. It just got old and boring really, really quick. So, yeah, procedural hell. Let's do it. I like it.
Well, I don't know that I knew, what the twist was, other than I remember thinking a couple times, there's got to be more than one of these guys. Because they couldn't physically be in that many places at once. But, when did that ever stop a slasher film actually doing that? And also when they were in the hospital and we see Trick. We don't know it's Trick. I guess I should just be saying it. The guy in the wheelchair.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
In the parking lot.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
No, I spotted you spot the guy in the wheelchair. He's like in the background in one scene, and I'm going, this guy's showing up again. How come nobody's paying any attention to him?
I didn't notice him. Actually,
I didn't notice him until he was in the parking lot. So good for you.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. Yeah,
I didn't. So
I was, like I said, I tuned out. So I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, because I don't even know if because it's like 5 years, right? From the beginning to when it
right.
And I don't know if I can tell you what happened in those 3 years in between.
Well, they went by pretty fast.
But yeah, but not interesting, right? It was like, oh my, right?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I was okay with it, but I
guess that part didn't bother me. I thought it was they were setting up the repetition, and really what they did was 15, 16, 17, 8. They did 4 of them. Maybe they could have got by with 3.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea that they're setting up that this was an annual thing.
Well, I also think that they were trying to show, because every year they grew their quote unquote, like army type, so I think that's how, they had quite a few people involved, and obviously some I'm sure that we were not supposed to see. I loved how like the dude jumped and died, and then you have these other tricks come and get him and take him away, so it helps keep up with this whole supernatural concept and aspect of it. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, like I said, there's faults to find with the movie for sure, but it entertained me. I mean, was it long-winded? Yeah, but most movies are at some point,
Well, I suspect most people will get a lot out of this.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Even though I said it lost me in the middle, it's still not a bad film by any stretch, right? It's far better than many films that we're subjected to. So, and the cast is strong, even if the character may not be. The cast is strong. Jamie Kennedy is actually good in this. So hey, that's something.
like he seems sufficiently creepy. Like to me, he seems super creepy. I was like, yeah, that's creepy.
It's definitely a reserved performance from him. He's usually a little more comedic, and he's kind of dry here. So, which was kind of spooky.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't know. In a good way. I don't like it in a good way because I was like, he made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's wrap up things. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene for Trick. Crystal, you are up first.
So I say give it a watch. I liked it. I found it fun. I found it entertaining. I think watch it. I think it was shot well. I think it's got some fun little kills. I think it's an interesting concept. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 3.25.
Nice.
Yeah. And actually I have a couple favorite scenes, but my favorite, I'll go with off with his head and her fingers.
Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah. That was gnarly.
Yeah.
You knew that was going to happen too.
Yeah,
gnarly.
I
know. There was no way Detective Denver was going to stop that from him. All right, Jeff Mohr, what is your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene? True.
Yeah, I thought it was, it was kind of a cool idea. It also reminded me a little bit of, what was that TV show a while ago with Kevin Bacon, The Following?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of goes there at some point. I mean, it's an entirely different setting, but So I enjoyed the idea, and we didn't say anything about it, but both of these films are set up for a sequel if they want.
Definitely.
I liked the acting. I think I mentioned this before, but like the choreography and the fight scenes, I thought was kind of cool. The guy with the knife. I'm going 3. I'm giving this a 3, and I'm going to take. Somebody else mentioned it, but I think Dave mentioned it. But they're actually doing a screening of Night of the Living Dead in a church.
Yes, of course. Best way to do it.
In the whole big area of the church, not some side room. And then there's like this death battle going on that's projecting shadows up on the screen, which I just thought was cool. I mean, it was maybe a cheap call out to horror fans, but I loved it.
Yes.
Especially with Tom Atkins involved, right?
I know. You didn't want it to happen either. It was like the only one you cared about. Maybe I'm revealing too much. Dave Dreher, what is your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene for Trek?
That's interesting, Jeff. You would compare it to The Following. It's actually, you're kind of dead on with that. And it's weird because, of course, The Following was written by Kevin Williamson, who was another Wes Craven protege.
Uh-huh.
They all worked together on Scream. All 3 of them did. So just a weird, kind of a weird tie in there.
Who's showing off now? Who's showing
off? I didn't put 2 and 2 together. It's interesting that they all, all from the same camp. But yeah, this was okay. Honestly, it probably would have scored a little higher for me if I hadn't watched it after the Furies. I'm going to give it a 2.75. It's by no means a bad movie. This was written by Todd Farmer, and it very much had a Todd Farmer feel to it. I don't dislike the man's writing, but he's kind of a one-trick pony, and this kind of falls right in line with what he does. And again, if you're a fan of it, kind of like Rob Zombie movies. If you're a fan of them, then you love what it is, and if you're not, you don't. And it's kind of the same for me, for Todd Farmer as a writer. So it's okay. And favorite scene. Let's see. I'm going to go with the lady getting her head smashed by the gravestone of one of the other.
Oh my God!
One of the other. And that was again kind of a nifty little scene. I mean, you can almost see them sitting around the table going, you know what? We'll have this gravestone on a crane, and it'll fly around. I mean, you can see it coming from a million miles away, but they don't really reveal that it's a gravestone until like the next scene. You get the head smash, and then they tell you that it was smashed with the headstone of one of the previous victims, which I thought was a nice little touch. So I'll go with that as a favorite scene. But yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that poor girl, and she'd already gotten the crazy gut thing too, right? So.
Yeah. She'd gotten the anchor to the gut, which had to suck.
Yeah, anchor. That was right.
He actually has the nerve to go, this might hurt.
Well, speaking of Todd Farmer, he wrote Jason X. Okay, come on, buddy. Come on, Dave.
Thank you for proving my point.
Oh, well, shit. All right. Okay, so like I said, the opening of the opening of this movie is a great scene. I love the setup. I really enjoyed it. Then it bored the shit out of me. And then it almost rescued the film with the reveal and the conclusion. So apologies to all involved about the middle of the film, or maybe you should apologize to me. I don't know how that should go, but regardless, I applaud the effort. I applaud the originality and the fun that they interjected into it. It certainly is kinetic when Trick is on screen. He's quick to move. He does some crazy moves with the knife. He uses other things, like you said, even the gravestone. So it certainly is. It's in the wheelhouse of the other films, My Bloody Valentine, Drive Angry. Yeah. There's a shtick, and he sticks to it, and it's the Trick that he likes best. I'm going to give it a 2.75 as well. And like Dave said, it's by no means a bad film, and I imagine many others will like it far more than I do. But some might not like it as much. It's quite possible. But I feel like even though Dave and I scored it the same, I think Dave liked it better than me. My favorite scene. All right, so a good portion of the finale is next to the church is a haunted maze in the churchyard. I guess it's in the parking lot or maybe in the yard behind it. But basically, it's all kinds of stuff. So you got all the characters kind of in trick mask running around, scaring people, as part of the maze. And our characters already know Trick's there and are running around. It's the two girls and the youngins that they're dragging along behind them, who are funny. They're funny kids. Kids are funny. But kids in horror films, they're funny. And they run across, I think it was a guy in a pig mask. I can't remember. But there's a guy there. He's got a chainsaw, right? And they're like, oh, no, oh, no. And they're trying to figure out, is he the killer or is he one of the things? And then Trick comes up behind him, flies up around him, right? On shoulders, and then shoves a knife into the top of his head.
Oh, yeah.
I just loved how that was shot and how it felt. It was, I was like, yeah. I like when he was a little bit more acrobatic. So yeah, I'll go with that.
A fine choice.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's our reviews for tonight. The Furies from director Tony DeAquino, which is available on Shudder right now, and Trick from director Patrick Lussier, written by Todd Farmer. Cast includes Omar Epps, Jamie Kennedy, and okay, I'm going to stop right there. Tom Atkins, yay!
Yes,
Jamie Kennedy. All right. Even though it was painfully obvious what was going to happen at the end, I kind of want to see a Trick 2 with a lot more Jamie Kennedy.
Yes.
He needs just full on needs to be that character and without any, just loopy. Because I feel like he's actually the brains behind everything.
Yeah, I know. Right? Well, actually, when I was watching that last shot of just him, I'm like, I could totally see him in like a torture flick, playing the torturer.
Yep. With his kind of grungy, slightly overweight look. Yeah. It worked. It worked. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't trust you, not at all.
Because it's weird. The first time you see him, he plays a doctor, and he's in like a scene, and he barely says anything, and he leaves. I was like, wait, that's Jamie Kennedy's. That's hardly a day player. What's going on here? He does come back later on. So, yeah. So regardless of how I think of it, I'm actually, if a second film came out, I'd watch it. All right, there you go.
Yay!
All right, that's coming out in theaters October 18th on digital on demand, same time, about the time you are listening to this. So catch it, see it. We spoiled the shit out of it, so you know what's coming. So go find it and hate us. All right, if you want to give us some feedback, you can do so. Feedback at gruesomemagazine.com is the way to email us. You can go to Facebook and join our Facebook group or the pages, and you can leave some comments there. You can go to gruesomemagazine.com and leave some comments on the blog post for this podcast, or you can find us on any social media and just reach out to us. Say, hey, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, we would.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm sorry. I expected to hear get the fuck out of here.
All right. Well, before we do that, that's awesome. Dave, Jeff, Crystal, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great fun with you guys.
With that, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.